Yo, what's going on, man? Today is January the 25th, 2024. It's your boy Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA show where I am live on Twitter. I'm also live on YouTube as well. It's a beautiful, I wouldn't say beautiful, but we do got NBA basketball to talk about and bets to be able to make and be able to cash today. So got to be thankful for that. It is Thankful Thursdays. So let's jump right into it, man. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. As I always ask, please hit the like button for me if you can. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, and definitely turn the notification bell on so you guys do know when I go live. Real quick recap of yesterday. 1-1 day. The play that I talked about yesterday on the show was the under Timberwolves under Timberwolves to hold the Washington Wizards under their team total of 108.5. A little sweaty, but we do get there, and that's all that matters is that we cash. And then also ended up giving out a money line parlay. And shout out to the Houston Rockets, who ended up letting Jeremy Grant bank in a three-pointer with 1 second left and then go to overtime, and they end up losing the game. So Houston Rockets blew the money line parlay last night. Portland, something I should have probably looked into. Actually, the best ATS team on this season in the second leg of back-to-backs. So definitely thought Houston was going to win. Maybe the injuries to Jabari Smith Jr. and Tari Eason being ruled out late had, contributed to that in retrospect, but still they should have won the game yesterday. Shouldn't have even been that close, but it is what it is, man. We go 1-1, lose a little bit of juice, just 0.06. So not even a tenth of a unit yesterday, but it should have been a, 2+ unit day on the season. 184, 153 and 3, still up 25.23 units, and definitely looking to build off of that. So let's jump into it real quick. Let's go to comments. Prolific says, "What's up, Chris? Let's cash today. Positive vibes, nothing else." Absolutely. He says, "People like, subscribe, join, share, all that good stuff. Support my boy." I appreciate this comment, Prolific. Young Harlow says, "What's up, Chris? What we got for today? Play Celtics first half team total over, and Gonzaga first half team total over, and the under full game in the Gonzaga game as well." He also says, Young Harlow goes on to say, "Everyone drop a like. Let's get pushing. Let's keep pushing the channel." And I appreciate that, Young Harlow. Always looking to grow and expand. Absolutely. What's up, Tasha? Good afternoon to you. David says, "Missed you yesterday, my guy. Let's cash. Hit the like button, everybody." Detroit said, "What up, though?" I talked about Detroit. I didn't give Detroit out because I ended up waiting too late. I don't like to give plays out, 10 minutes before the game. I typically like to do it 15 minutes, but I did put a little something on Detroit yesterday. I talked about Detroit being in a good spot, and they were. Raptors fan liking the new intro video. Appreciate that, my brother. Appreciate that for sure. What's up, Lonnie? Kenneth, DJ, Keelan, Jamie. Yeah, absolutely. It's a good night coming for sure. What up, Malik, as well? He says, "We probably on the opposite sides tonight, Chris. I'll tap in with you and when we get to that game." Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into it for today, man. So first game on the board, we are going to the streets of D.C. We have the Washington Wizards at 7.5-point home dogs in this game against the visiting the Utah Jazz. And real quick, I actually just deleted my live eye screen. So I just wanted to make sure I put these lines in a little earlier. You guys see 7 at the bottom. You guys also see a total of 245. I just want to confirm those real quick before I jump into the betting angles and the news and notes on this one. So very while that loads, I think it is 7.5, and that total couldn't have moved but so much. About 245 is what it was and what it has been. It has some money has kind of trickled in on the over. I think it opened at like 243.5. So you do see some money come in on the on the over in this spot. And then the line actually get a little bit longer for the visiting Utah Jazz. Not a team that you necessarily want to lay a bunch of points with on the road. We know that I just took an under in their game against the Pelicans, and they got absolutely smoked. Gave up 153 points, 150 points in that game. It was the Pelicans' most points they scored all season. And now they get a Wizards team. This Wizards team is not great. They are on the second leg of a back-to-back after losing yesterday against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Did cover that game on a late three-point shot. This total is actually up to 246 now. So some money being pushed in on the over. I really wanted to get there. I'll talk about the total first. I really wanted to get there with the over. 243.5. Now it's up 4 points, 247. The reason why I didn't is because Washington's offense has actually not looked as great, more recently as it once did. And we can kind of, we can talk about it from the standpoint of maybe the Wizards come in here and, maybe the Jazz come in here and play a little bit of defense. something that they haven't been doing. But I don't really feel like I can trust this Washington Wizards team to be able to produce offensively. They don't have a lot of scores. I think, with Kyle Kuzma name being linked to so many trades, it feels like he's not playing as well as he's been playing. Outside of Deni Avdija, they don't really, to me, in my estimation, they don't have a lot of guys that can really score the ball. So one thing I'll pull up and kind of show you guys, and this was something that I looked at when I capped the team total yesterday, just real quick on this game while we're talking about the total. This was something that I looked at yesterday. So what you guys see on the screen is this is the Wizards in the month of January. You guys can see that they're 1-10 straight up, 4-6-1 against the spread, 7-4 to the under. Right? Remember this team actually being able to score the ball. If we look at them this year, last month, they were scoring 117 points per game. You can see that right here, 117 points per game in the month of December. But in the month of January, their scoring is down 7 points, 110. And that's the part that kind of scares me. Second leg of a back-to-back game. They could potentially run out of gas in this spot. Utah is a fast-paced team. I'm pretty sure Utah is just going to want to run them. So then I kind of, look towards Utah to go over their team total maybe, but the number is 126.5. That's a lot of points. If you're paying that, you're really laying a premium in that spot. So I couldn't play the total, even though I really wanted to get there with the over. This right here kind of, talked me off of, taking this total to go over. From a side perspective, I don't want to lay 7.5 points with the Utah Jazz. They haven't been a profitable team, laying points on the road in general. I got the Jazz at 1-1 against the spread and 1-1 straight up. When they are on the road, they lost to the Trailblazers and beat the Spurs. So Wizards have been able to kind of keep, games close, specifically when they're not playing against really good defensive teams. And when you look at them as home dogs this season, they're still just 7-10 against the spread. So they haven't been covering, they have been losing. But I won't say that. I'll say that they've covered 4 of their last 6. Put it like that. So yeah, it really makes the game really difficult for me, especially with their offense kind of falling off a cliff. From a player prop perspective, I didn't really dive too much into this one. I think Lauri Markkanen could have a really big game. Remember, when you're playing Washington Wizards games, you want to bet on the guy that can put his head down and go to the rim, right? I talked about Anthony Edwards yesterday. Not 100% sure why I didn't play him, because I'm an idiot, but. And, guy like Anthony Edwards that's going to get downhill. So maybe that's Colin Sexton tonight, being able to put a lot of pressure on the rim. Because typically that's where the Washington Wizards give up a lot of points. A lot of dunks last night, a lot of uncontested dunks too. And on the second leg of a back-to-back, the Wizards defense should get a lot worse. But I'm just having a hard time trusting their offense in this spot. But it still won't let me lay 7.5 points with the Utah Jazz. So very conflicting game. Those are my thoughts. Like I said, not anything else that I'm super interested in playing. I will tell you guys that Will Hardy, the coach of the Utah Jazz, did call his team out again after giving up, so many transition points, turning the ball over so much, getting, out rebounded. I will tell you guys this, and this is one of the things that kind of favored the Jazz. They are a really good rebounding team. When you got Walker Kessler, Lauri Markkanen, those guys rebound the ball really, really well. The Wizards struggle with rebounding the basketball. We see Rudy Gobert have 15, 16 rebounds yesterday. Walker Kessler could be in for a lot of rebounds today. So those are my thoughts. Let me just see what you guys are saying in the comments. I'm going to try to get through these comments pretty quickly, and we'll keep it moving on to the next game. Keelan says, good luck on that Pistons pick. That made him sweat. Yeah. If you bet the Pistons, you probably don't want to watch the game. You got a lot of other things you could do. Just check back in the fourth quarter. I was just following the beat writers on Twitter, and then, last 4 or 5 minutes, it was even sweaty watching that. But yeah, the Pistons did win the game yesterday, man. It's not for the faint of heart when you're putting your money on the Pistons. You got to know what you're signing up for. There ain't going to be no wire-to-wire wins with the Detroit Pistons. They got the job done yesterday, though. Jamie says, what's up, Chris? Great night last night. Laying low today. Yeah, I don't really like the slate as much today either, man. A lot of home dogs. We'll see how it goes. Tasha says home dogs as well. Malik says, we're probably on opposite sides tonight, Chris. He'll tap in a little bit later. Vaughn said 13-3 run last few days. He then got smoked last night. So he got smacked last night. KOD, appreciate you for tapping in. What's up, Jay Gill? Tasha says she'll take that plus 7.5 with the Wizards. And 245, Tasha, what you doing with it? You playing the over or you playing the under? Probably the over, but I'm curious. I just see 245. What else we got? Kenneth said he doesn't mind playing that Jazz team total over at 126.5. Seymour Cash said, I'm not gonna hold you, bro. It's a lot of home dogs favorite today, and I feel like they're gonna be barking tonight. I'm gonna talk about a couple of them, and I do lean Jazz in this. I do lean Wizards to be able to cover. I think 7.5 is a little too rich for my blood for the Jazz to be laying on the road, man. If I had a play in the game, I'd be taking the points with the Wizards. I know we faded them yesterday, but I'd be taking them today. Anthony Carlin says, "What's up, Chris? NBA fan from Scotland. Love the work, bro. Let's cash tonight. Hey, I appreciate you for tapping in all the way over from Scotland, Anthony, from Scotland to VA, bro. Sending you the love right back, man. What else we got? Hobby Noble says he grabbed the 242 last night. Felt like it was a tad bit too low. I know the Jazz can put up 130, so just hoping Wizards can do their part. Yeah, maybe a team total over. With the number being a little bit inflated, glad you got the best of the line last night, Hobby. I couldn't quite get there. Could not quite get there. The books are going to overinflate a lot of these games, though. Dwight likes Fontecchio over his 1.5 threes. Seymour Cash says he's rocking with Colin Sexton over his 1.5 3-point makes. Raptors fan says he likes John Collins over 6.5 rebounds. Gotta continue to attack that put rebound the Wizards team. I think I like this one, Raptors fans. First play I'm writing down from the chat today. Hadn't thought about John Collins, but his rebounds make a lot of sense in this spot. Over 6.5. I am going to write that down, and I'm going to write your name beside it. Not sure if I'm a player, but it makes a lot of sense to me. Robert says, I'm on the Wizards with the points. New head coach, auto bet. Yeah, so they did. I wouldn't say fired. It's almost like he got promoted. Wes Unseld will be, in the upstairs working with the front office now, and they will have a new head coach in tonight's game. I'm not sure what it does for the Wizards, but typically, we just saw this happen with the Bucks yesterday. New head coach typically mean you don't want to fade that team. You typically want to stay off the game or play on that team. Vaughn likes Colin Sexton points as well. Anthony says Utah spread, bro. Blowout potential, I think is what he means. What's up, Geechee man? EQ says, man, is everyone betting the dogs today or something? These lines sneaky. They are, bro. They are. They definitely are. Janky Sports says, don't forget, Wizards coach just moved to the front office. Yeah, we just talked about that. Tasha says she likes the Pacers too. We're going to talk about that game next. And then Coop says, I thought I was the only one who wasn't a big fan of the slate. Going to be a light day for me today. I agree, man. I was looking at it last night. I said, damn, every team a home dog today except the Lakers. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. What's up to my guy S. in the chat? Do you like any goblins and demon plays? I'm not even sure what that means. Be nice. Goblin and demon plays. Not 100% sure. Vaughn, last one. Vaughn says he played Tyus Jones assists and over 6.5 with 15 potential assists over his last 3 games. Seems like a good look there, Vaughn, especially against a team that's not playing much defense, especially if you expect this game to get up and down and you think the Wizards can actually make shots. They've been getting looks, but are they going to be able to knock them down? Let's go to the next game. So we got 76ers and we got Pacers. This line is 5.5 at some books and 5 at other books. Total did go up from 237.5 up to 240. So from a side perspective, I know Philly has just been kind of like really, really dominant, but Tobias Harris didn't go through shoot around this morning. Robert Covington's still going to be out. DeAnthony Milton's still going to be out. And on the opposite side, I think Jalen Smith is listed as questionable for the Indiana Pacers. So for Philly, first game of a long 5-game road trip. And first game after Joel Embiid just dropped 70 as well. Pretty sure they celebrated that. That doesn't make me want to back Philly in this spot. Indiana also needing a win. They have not won a game in quite a while. And Rick Carlisle has the team playing hard. They've been competitive in all the games. Probably should have covered in that last game. Played Denver all the way down to the wire. Played Phoenix all the way down to the wire as well a few nights ago before that. They finally got a day of practice in. And this is the first leg of a back-to-back for them. They do play Phoenix again tomorrow, so they get a chance to get some revenge. This is a conference game. Tomorrow isn't. Head-to-head, the season series is actually tied 1-1, and 1-1 against the spread and 2-0 to the over so far. But both of those games were played without Halliburton. So not a play that I feel like overwhelmingly confident in, but to me, just 1 + 1 = 2, and it kind of makes sense. I played the under in this spot, and the total's moving against me. It's up to 240. I jumped in at 239, didn't think it would touch 240. And the cap for this one is pretty simple. So one, we just cashed the under in Indy's last game against Denver the other day. And the fact that the books just don't adjust the totals without Halliburton being there, I think that that's something that just going to continue to kind of hopefully make some cash with. The Pacers are 19th in pace over the last 3 games without Halliburton, and we know that they're a top 5 pace team in the NBA with Halliburton. So they're playing a little bit slower. They're 7-3 to the under. That's 70% in the games without Halliburton this season. They're also 3-0 to the under since the Pascal Siakam trade. And in those games, they're averaging just 227 points. They're staying under the total by about an average of 12 points per game. And they've been playing against some competition in those games. We know that they just played Denver. Their game went under. We cashed that under. They played Phoenix. We cashed that under as well. So I think that, they'll keep this game competitive. You do have to find a way from an X's and O perspective. You got to find a way to either let Embiid just dominate against, Miles Turner, or you double them and, hope that some of those shooters are not going to make their shots. And speaking of shooters, Tobias Harris, that's 18 points per game that's going to be missing. So give me Philly and Indy to go under in this spot. I stayed away from the spread, but if I had to play it, this is a home dog that I like. I think you take the plus 5.5. I might get there and put something small on the 5.5, for the Pacers. I feel like Philly could win this game and not necessarily cover. Philly has been good in road games with Joel Embiid, but they also been playing against a lot of cupcakes in those spots as well. So a couple different, trends that I kind of looked at. To me, it feels like Philly is due to, I wouldn't necessarily say due to drop one. They do got a game in 2 days against Denver in Denver. But I do think that, it could be a low fatigue spot for Philly after, celebrating Joel Embiid scoring 70 points. So I chose to play this one under the 239. Let's go to the chat and see what you guys are thinking here before we move on to the next one. Oh, y'all talking about the Prize Picks now. I got the app. I got money on Prize Picks. I had a couple $100 on Prize Picks. I just forgot it was in there, honestly. It just kind of sit there. I never play Prize Picks. I got the app though. We do have access to it in Virginia. I uploaded some bread. I won a couple dollars and then just left it sitting there. I got to get in there, at least get it back or play something or something. I don't know. I'll never get on Prize Picks though. Coop says West don't want to coach Jordan Poole anymore. That's the promotion. That's a fact. That is a fact. Jordan Poole looks god awful. He could have a really big game today though, because the Jazz defense is not as good. I talked about Poole going under the 15.5 points yesterday. A lot of people probably didn't take it, but those Minnesota guards are really, really good. Jay says you think JJ says you think Philly controls the pace. I'm not sure, Jay. I'm not sure. Philly doesn't play at a fast pace. Philly plays at a slow pace. They're just very efficient. Kind of like Denver. They remind me a lot of Denver, Jay. Let's see. Raptors fan says thoughts on Philly first half spread at 2.5, Chris. I'm leaning on that particular play. I don't really have a thought process on the Raptors fan. I would say this: when you're a team that's struggling to get a win, typically you come out and you give it all you have early. So that I think that more so favors Indy in the first half. And Indy was actually winning against Denver in the first half the other day as well. So more desperation spot says Indy first half over the full game. Will says, what up though, Chris? I'm telling you on that under. Best of luck, bro. Hopefully we cash it. Vaughn says he played the under as soon as it came out. Indy only averaging 112 points without Halliburton this season. I looked at that as well. Like I said, 7-3 without Halliburton. So we'll see how it goes. Will says it's the top player of the day for him. Hobby says, I don't know if anyone watches tennis in here, but the Djokovic money line and both players to win a set at plus 120. Back in the GOAT here at one of his best Grand Slams. So we got some tennis action. David likes TJ McConnell. Seymour Cash says Jokic over 26.5. We'll get to that game in a second. And Anthony likes Maxey over his threes. David also says he's telling Hobby on his tennis plays. All right, cool. Let's get back into it. So we're 2 games down. Let's keep moving. Next game up, we have the Boston Celtics, who will be in Miami tonight. Another big dog, another big favorite, biggest favorite, road favorite that we have of the night. This line actually opened at 5.5, 6 last night. By the time I saw it, it was 7. And, now it's up to 8. So Boston 8-point favorites in Miami tonight. Total, not really moving a lot, but I did just kind of grab the under in this spot. And as I see it go up, which is crazy, but, it is what it is. It's going up on the most public sports book, so that's cool. 225, it looks like, is the highest total. 224.5 is the consensus. It was actually down to 224, opened at 224.5. So pretty simple cap for me in this one. I could be totally off, but I'll just go with with the numbers. I'll go with what I'm seeing. Boston, Miami. I really wanted to get there with Boston. 8 is a big number. Can Boston cover this number? Absolutely, they can. Not the greatest spot for Miami. They're not just unrested, but they got a Boston team that is rested. This is actually like the one of the worst recipes you could have is facing Boston on the second leg of a back-to-back. And Boston has a clean injury report, right? Everybody is probably going to play in this game tonight. For Miami, no Jaime Jaquez Jr., and that's been problematic. They lose Jaime Jaquez Jr. They get back Jimmy Butler, and their offense has really, really been struggling. So while I didn't play a side, I am going to get there with the under in the full game. I also like Miami team total to go under. So I just gave out before the show started the full game under because I do feel like Boston's going to slow the tempo down. But it wouldn't surprise me if Miami just isn't able to score in this spot as well. So Miami team total to go under in the full game under. I like both. And it's, like I said, pretty easy cap here. Boston, we've seen how good they've been defensively. They're number 2 defensive rated team over the last 5 games, 5-0 to the under in their last 5 games, with all of their opponents going under their team total, allowing under 103 points per game. So that's 4 points less than this, the Miami team total today. And Boston have actually held 6 of their opponents under their team total when they're more rested than their opponent. And that's on the road as well. So we know Boston defense at home has been playing well, but even on the road, when they have more rest, 6 straight opponents have gone under their team total, I want to say. And then on the Miami side, they're the 5th best defensive rated team over the last 5 games, worst offensive rated team, and they're playing at the second slowest pace over the last 5 games. They're also 10-2 to the under this month as well. So all of those things kind of, make me lean toward, well, not make me lean because I played the full under at 224.5. But I like the Miami team total to go under as well. I feel like if Miami's going to stay in this game, it will be because they're playing at a really slow pace, and I think Boston's defense comes to play in this spot as well. So don't know if Boston wins by margin, but I could definitely see them winning this game by 10. We also know that there's playoff revenge because Miami did knock out Boston in Game 7. Remember Jason Tatum rolling his ankle, and Jimmy Butler and those boys, Caleb Martin specifically in that series. Absolutely cooked last night. So I know Miami is eventually going to get it together, but, losing as a 10-point favorite last night, not the greatest spot to back them unrested in this spot, in my opinion. So I didn't play the actual spread, but give me the under in the full game and give me Miami team total to go under as well, even though I haven't added Miami team total yet. Also, from a player prop perspective, I haven't played this yet either, but I really do like Jason Tatum to go over his rebounds and assist line. It makes a lot of sense to me. The number's 14.5, so that's 7-8 or 8-6. I'm sorry, 8-7, 10-6, whatever the case might be. I do think that Jason Tatum goes over this rebounds and assist line. Just from a matchup perspective, it always feels like when he plays against the Eric Spoelstra-led defense, they always trap him. They always try to get the ball out of his hands. We see Eric Spoelstra do this with a lot of primary ball handlers, and I think that he does it again in this spot. Jason Tatum over the last, the last like 6 or 7 games. Well, I think it goes back farther than that. Let me just double check real quick because I thought I had this written down, but I did not. So Tatum over the last, let's get the numbers just so I can give you guys some facts. So Tatum over the last 1, 2, 3, 4. So he had 8 rebounds and 5 assists in the game that they played earlier this season. But dating back to last season, 14-7. This is regular season, not including the playoffs. 12-3, 11-3. So I do expect Tatum to, be a facilitator and to rebound the ball alongside, Kristaps Porzingis tonight. So I like Tatum as well. Didn't quite get there to that one, but that's probably my favorite player prop of the day. Let's go to the chat, see what you guys are saying here before we keep it moving. What else we got? Tasha says, I can't bet against Boston. Tasha says it every day. She says, I can't bet against Boston. And I'm right there with you, Tasha. I'm right there with you. NS likes Derek White over his 2.5 threes. We know that Miami has been struggling to guard that 3-point line, so I could not talk you off of this. Anthony says, Jimmy Butler played a foul game Miami might bounce back tonight. They straight own the Celtics. So he does not think that the Celtics win this game. They did lose earlier this season, Anthony. Boston already beat them 119 to 111 back on October the 27th. This was like first couple games of the season. What up to my guy RC? What else? JS says he took Boston first half specifically. He wants to get in and get out. Doesn't know how the rest of that game will play out. Cam says he just missed Pacers game, but he's on Siakam first quarter. He likes him to go over 4.5 points at minus 122. And that makes a lot of sense, especially if Tobias Harris is not going to be there. Tobias is a really, really good defender, whether people, want to give him credit or not. And, regardless of his offensive game, he's really, really good on the defensive end. So, it could be a lot easier for Pascal Siakam tonight if Tobias doesn't play. Estai says, Chris, if you don't realize I'm back on the Heat, Heat are going to do the most Heat thing ever by losing to the depleted Memphis team and then come back and come out and beat the Celtics the next day. Heat +9. And Estai, the resident Heat fan, says he's taking the Heat on the money line as well. Okay. Hey, I was kind of waiting for a play, Estai. I know you've been quiet. You've been in the bushes like the Bart Simpson, like Homer Simpson meme. So was just kind of interested in what you were doing with the game. Takri says somebody said that this was rivalry week. The game in Boston go over and Miami go under. I would agree with that. So give me the under. I like that. Raptors fan says he likes Jaylen Brown over 22.5 points. He's hit this line 6 straight games against the Heat. Okay. Let's see. Estai says Miami Life takes away legs to bring the under. I don't care what does it. As long as the game goes under, that's all that matters to me. Vaughn says wanted to get there with Miami, maybe first half as a home dog coming off a double-digit home loss, but Boston is a different monster. I would agree. Vaughn also says play Jrue Holiday over 11.5 points. He's over in 18 of his last 20 versus the Heat. Also averages 16 a game over his last 10. The Breeze says he's waiting on Terry Rozier. Still think he want to get back at the Celtics. So yeah, we know it's a lot of revenge there. A lot of revenge angles for this game. Jrue Holiday getting bounced in the first round last year when he was still on the Milwaukee Bucks. I can see it. Malik says over 4.5 assists for Tatum at +110 on FanDuel. He could have that by half. So he likes Tatum assists. I could definitely see that as well, Malik. I just like the rebounds and assists a little bit more, but assists by itself makes a lot of sense as well. Will says current form versus current form. Give me the Celtics. I think that they have the game circled in their calendar. The motivation is there. Even Holiday has revenge. I believe this is a statement game. Okay. Bet on JC likes the Heat first half. So it's a lot of conflicting trends here. He likes the +5.5 in the first half. And Cal B says, what's your official play so far? You like Cam Johnson, 12.5 points? No. But I could definitely see Cam Johnson having a good game. I'm not playing Cam Johnson. He's not a guy that I bet on, but yeah, I can see him having a good game. The volume been there. His shots his percentage has been so bad recently. Official play for me so far, I gave out the Pacers game to go under versus the 76ers, and I also played this Miami and Boston game to go under 224.5 as well. Coop says Heat the only home dog he's backing today. Seymour Cass says he wish Jaime Jaquez Jr. was playing. EQ also likes the Heat +8.5. And Debo says betting against a well-rested Celtics team is crazy work. Bobby goes on to say Boston by 10. So a lot of conflicting trends here. Let's keep it moving. Not the greatest game. I do think Celtics are really, really good, but I don't know, man. I just don't got the greatest feeling about that game. They should win. They should cover. It should be a double-digit win, but like Estai says, man, when you want to fade the Heat the most, it's typically when they come out, play their best brand of basketball, probably win the game outright. We'll see how it happens. Even though they couldn't score last night against the Grizzlies. So that's how it goes sometimes. Probably the game of the day. Next game up. We got the Nuggets, the Denver Nuggets. They will be at MSG Mecca tonight playing the New York Knicks. They are lines kind of moving to some 2.5s out there as well. Total come down from 225.5 down to 222. This is one that I was definitely kicking myself for because I handicapped it last night and I had the under. Didn't play it, but it was the last thing. Well, one of the last things that I wrote down. So, but the Knicks, Isaiah Hartenstein. This is one of the reasons I didn't take it. He was still listed as questionable, and I don't think that I saw update on Hartenstein. Did we get an update on Hartenstein today? Did he go through shoot around anything? He is still listed as game time decision, tossed up to play right now. For the Denver Nuggets, Reggie Jackson also looks like he is listed as likely to play, so probable there. But outside of that, you got all your starters in there. We've been cashing Knicks opposing team totals to go under for a while, full game unders to go for a while as well. And I'm very conflicted on this game. I tell you guys initially, I know a lot of people talking and like the Knicks today as home dogs. Couldn't talk you off if that's what you like. I actually like Denver. I didn't play Denver for just for transparency purposes. I just feel like while the Denver, if you go through and just look at the ATS trends, it says that Denver hasn't necessarily been covering on the road. But you got to look a little deeper, man. Like a lot of those guys were injured throughout parts of the season. So when they had a fully healthy roster and they're playing on the road, there's something like 8-1 straight up. And that's all you really need them to do. Because if you like the Denver Nuggets, as a short favorite, last game of a 5-game road trip, you definitely want to take them on the money line, not necessarily be laying the points. In my estimation, that's would be my recommendation. If you like Denver, just take them on the money line. If you like the Knicks, you take the points and maybe you put a sprinkle on the money line. So the reason why I didn't take Denver is because of the the road trip spot. But you just kind of go back through Denver's most recent games, and I know that could be some fatigue in this spot. Because it is the last game of a road trip. But Denver has actually been, they came out here on this West Coast road trip. They should have beat Philly, but they didn't. And thank God they didn't because we was on Philly in that game. But they beat Boston at TD Garden. They beat the Washington Wizards. We're laying 12.5 in that game. Didn't cover, but who cares? As long as you win. And then the Pacers. They beat the Pacers by 5 as well. I think they want to finish the road trip out well. Now, if they finish 3-2, that'd be great. But if they finish 4-1, they probably feel really good about themselves. They have gone under in 3 straight games and 4 of their last 5. And that's the way I chose to play this one. I just look at the Knicks schedule, and the Knicks have, first of all, they shouldn't have beat Brooklyn the other day. Julius Randle hit a couple crazy shots, and they got a couple crazy rebounds and got out in transition. But you can only play who is in front of you. I absolutely agree with that. But the Knicks have been beating up on some cupcakes. They beat Brooklyn, Toronto, Washington, Houston. When Houston was in that, Houston lost to Portland last night, so Houston is going through it right now. Lost to Orlando when Jalen Brunson didn't play. Beat Memphis and then got smoked against Dallas. I think that was the last time I played them. So rules still in play for me, just not to play Knicks games as far as spread goes. But I do like the under in this spot. I think you can trust this Knicks defense. I think you can trust Denver defense as well. Both of these teams are bottom 3 in pace over the last 5 games. Knicks third best defensive rating. Denver also top half of the league in defensive rating. Knicks 7-0 to the under in home games this season. So I could see this one being, like a 105 to 100 type game, 108 to like 105 type game, something like that. So give me the under. I know I lost some value when it opened at 225. Well, at least that's what I saw that. But 222.5, I'm cool with that. That's only a 1.5. I'm cool with that. So I played the under in this game. I know a lot of people don't like taking unders. Don't take it if you if it alters how you watch the game, or you're not an under better in general. But these are 2 really good defensive teams, and I do see both of these teams kind of struggling to score. From a matchup perspective, I think you put you take OG Anunoby and you put him on Jamal Murray, which will make life pretty difficult for him. And then on the opposite side, you got Aaron Gordon to be able to at least slow down Julius Randle, in my estimation. So I like this game to go under. I think if Hartenstein doesn't play, Jokic could absolutely have a field day, and I'm going to be interested to see what Tibbs deploys from a defensive perspective to slow down this this Denver offense, or the piece that is Jokic in general, because he's been hooping, especially since Coach Denny died. Like he's been coming out and really kind of dominating. So I think Brunson's in a really good spot. He has to play well in this game, but I'm not into taking player points props over if I like the full game to go under. But I do think that Brunson's going to have to carry him. It kind of makes sense when you think about Julius Randle potentially not having his best game. So under 222.5 is the top play for me in this game. Staying away from the side. But if I had to play it, I would free play it. I would put my money on Denver on the money line. Let's see what you guys are looking at in this one. Anthony likes the Knicks on the money line. D-Gen says Hardenstein, Isaiah Hardenstein is the former Nugget, so he thinks there could be some revenge on his mind. Maybe he gets up for this game. Damani says, as a Knicks fan, Denver will win. Teams turn up to play at MSG. I would agree, man. I will say this, though. We were on the Timberwolves, what was it, like over the Christmas break or holiday break, over like that 2-week span in between. And I was on the Timberwolves in one of those games, and the Timberwolves got smoked against the Knicks. So maybe that's something that, happens in this game. I can't bet the Knicks games. That's just how I feel about them from a side perspective. Because if I take the points with them, Denver will win this game by 10. And if I bet on New York to lose, New York will somehow find a way to win. Julius Randle will have 40, 15, 8 assists, no turnovers, 6 for 6 from the 3-point line, make all his free throws, no technical fouls, and just smiling the whole game. So I can't get there at all. Damani also says Jericho Sims is also getting major minutes. Shaking my head. So he does not like Jericho Sims in there. JS Brown says, I believe Knicks last 10 out of their last 12 have gone under. That is correct, JS. They've gone under all their home games. The only game that went over so far, as far as like an opponent team total to go over, was the game against the Mavs. And they got smoked from the beginning of that game. And I was on them in that game. Hobby says, Chris, do you know if the Knicks are a first half team? I might look back Denver in the second half I might look to back Denver in the second half if they go down early after seeing how they did against Indiana. The Knicks actually were down in their last couple games as well. They had to fight from behind to come back against the game in Brooklyn. So I want to say it was, kind of going back and forth throughout, and then Brooklyn kind of beat them in the third quarter. So the Knicks had to come from behind in the fourth quarter. So Knicks is just, up and down type team. I wouldn't, especially if Hardenstein's not in there, that would definitely throw first half bet all the way off for me. What's up to my guy JT? See you in the chat. Appreciate you for tapping in as always, my brother. Let's see. DJ also says Nuggets been focusing on defense and on these crazy 10-game stretch. Yeah, the Nuggets are maybe people still sleeping. Nuggets are good, man. I know they the last game of a road trip, they could potentially be a little fatigued in the spot, but yeah, I'm there. Seymour Cash says I'm about to start calling Chris the Undertaker because I just play what makes sense, Seymour Cash. I don't care if it's an over or under or whatever makes the most sense, whatever I can find the data to support. Contrarian bettors typically go under because the public likes to go over. So I like the cash plays. Vaughn says got an under, and I know you like it. And I know you like unders. Jamal Murray, under 32.5 points plus assists. First, he's under in 15 of his last 20 games. The Knicks allowed a fourth least points to the point guard position. Guarded by OG, give me the under. So Vaughn likes Jamal Murray, specifically go under 32.5 points and assists. That makes a lot of sense, especially in a fatigue spot. Last game of a 5-game road trip. Hobby says I'm on MPJ over 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Official. OG on Murray, expecting kickouts to MPJ. Kind of like Cam Johnson versus the Knicks last game. Okay. That makes sense, Hobby. That makes a lot of sense. Couple more. Estai says Heat need the Knicks to lose, but I'm seeing Knicks cover and win and hit the under. So yeah, we got some plays right there. 3 plays from Estai he likes. Tez says I would lean first quarter Knicks Nuggets full game 450. I'm guessing that's plus 450. And Chi Brewer says Hardenstein props are up, so maybe he is going to play. I haven't seen news on Hardenstein. It will move the line though. It should move the line anyway when we do get news on Isaiah Hardenstein. Last comment before we get to the next game. Raptors fans say Jokic 12 rebounds at plus 105 on FanDuel. Probably the only thing he likes, to be honest. And I could see in a defensive game with a low total like this, I could definitely see a bunch of missed shots. And I'll tell you guys this: typically teams on the last game of a 4 or 5 game road trip that's like non-conference, they typically do run out of gas in that later game. It was something that I looked into earlier. Their team totals typically go under, which is why I'm on this full game to go under. Because I do think the Nuggets defense shows up as well. So wouldn't surprise me if the Knicks won the game. That's why I'm not playing the Nuggets. Next game up, even though I do lean their way on the money line. Next game up, Timberwolves and Nets. Another game that's super conflicting. I don't know why the line is so short. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I know that the Timberwolves have not been the greatest team, and I saw some earlier, like the Nuggets are like the 21st rated defensive team when they're playing unrested on the second leg of a back-to-back. But the bottom line is this, man. I can't go near Brooklyn Nets. I don't think they can know how to close a game anymore. They're 12-7-2 against the spread at home. But we remember they were like the hottest team against the spread on the road. Now you see that. At home. Now you see that kind of catch up with them. They've also only covered 2 of their last 10 games, with 7 of them being losses and the other one being a push. The Timberwolves have been extremely inconsistent as well on the road. They're not a good ATS team. They haven't even been profitable, just 11-12 on the road. They are coming off the win against the Washington Wizards, and Mike Conley is listed as questionable. That's humongous emphasis for me specifically in this game, because I watched the Timberwolves game yesterday from start to finish. And when in the second quarter, when Karl-Anthony Towns picked up his second foul, had to go to the bench early, and Anthony Edwards picked up his second foul, had to go to the bench early, that offense does not look the same. So if I was going to lay the points in this spot, I would need Mike Conley to play. I think he's dealing with an illness. Not sure if he's going to play in this game. Brooklyn, I'm not into fading these teams that, continue to lose, because eventually you're going to win. But they have lost 2 in a row. They lost to the Knicks. They lost to the Clippers. Should have probably beat the Knicks in that last one as well. And before that, they beat the Lakers. But outside of that Laker win, they haven't won a game in quite a while. It does kind of feel like, they're kind of getting there, like, let's getting back in a little bit more competitive form, because a couple of those games weren't even competitive. When, a couple of those losses wasn't even that competitive. But I say all that to say this. I think that the Timberwolves defense will probably show up in this game. We know that Chris Finch just called them out a couple games ago. Brooklyn has actually been a top 10 defensive team over the last 10 games as well. Last 5 games also. Holding opponents under, their team total in pretty much all the spots. I'll give them credit for, I won't discredit them too much for giving up 125 to the Clippers, because that was a matinee game on a Sunday. But they just held the Knicks to 108 points. They held the Lakers to 112, and the Lakers are one of the fastest paced teams in the league. Portland only scored 105 against them, even though they lost that game. Miami held them to 96 points. So Brooklyn's defense has been playing well. Brooklyn is a really good. Isaiah Hartenstein rolled out. Oh man! So if you want this line for Miami, if you still like the Knicks, then you want to wait and get the best line. If you like Denver, you want to jump in right now, because this line is going to move. I'm not touching it. But that does not help the Knicks at all. I'm interested. I see Flo in the chat. Interested to see what he thinks about this. But yeah, Hardenstein is out. Thibodeau says second straight game he's missed with an Achilles injury. So they made us wait all day and then just to rule him out. I kind of felt like he wasn't going to play. Achilles is kind of, a big deal, but that line will move now. I think it probably goes to 3, maybe even 2.5. So if you want the Knicks, wait, and you'll get a better number. But going back to this game, I know the totals come down. It opened at 219 down to 217. What's that? 109 subtract like 107.5. So I just think the Timberwolves can win the game. I think that they can cover it. The line is super short. It's 3.5, even though you guys see 4 on the screen. But I kind of want Mike Conley in, just because the Nets are. The Timberwolves are in a game where they flew from DC to Brooklyn, super short flight. But this is a third game in 4 nights for them as well. After that game that Cat had, where he scored 70 points earlier this week against Charlotte. So I say all that to say, give me, if I had to play free play, I'd take the Timberwolves minus the 3.5, even on the road. Nets have just been, I don't think that they get it done, honestly. They will have to, and I said this last game as well, they will have to get super hot from the 3-point line. And that's what we saw in the last game. It was Cam Thomas, it was Cam Johnson, it was Mikal Bridges, but they would need to have another great performance like that in order to keep this one competitive, because the Timberwolves don't give up a lot of points at the rim. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see what we like in the chat. Adrian also likes Jokic. He says over 11.5 rebounds if Hartenstein is out. Claxton has 17 last game. That makes a lot of sense to me. Book's probably going to lock up Jokic's rebounds. But don't sleep. Jericho Sims is a pretty good rebounder. He could potentially get in foul trouble. If he gets in foul trouble, man, I don't know what Thibodeau going to do. I know Thibodeau, know a lot about defense, but he going to have his hands full if Jericho Sims gets in any kind of foul trouble tonight. Real quick, let's see if we can find that number real quick. So Jokic rebounds is 11.5 at minus 104 on, well, actually 11.5 plus 102 on Bet Rivers right now is the best number that I see. So yeah, the juice gonna come in on that though. So if you want that, probably want to jump on that one now if you want Jokic rebounds. Anthony says he likes Timberwolves in the trifecta, first quarter, first half, and full game tonight. EQ likes the Wolves minus 3.5. Vaughn says Claxton over 10.5 rebounds. He had 22 rebound chances per game over his last 8 games. In that same time span, he's averaging 12.8 per game. Gobert near the rim at all times, so he won't be be on the perimeter. I thought that it might be difficult to get rebounds against Rudy Gobert. But I watched it happen pretty easily last night for Marvin Bagley III. He was rebounding the ball, playing extremely hard. And being that you've lost so many games in a row, it makes sense for Claxton to come out here, be super locked in, try to rebound the basketball. What else we got? There you go, Scotty. He says Precious rebounds. Couple could be a look. Yeah, Precious Achiuwa will get big burn tonight for sure. He'll get big burn regardless. Raptors fan says he's leaning Claxton under his rebounds, but only because he has struggled to rebound against Gobert. He hasn't cracked double-digit rebounds versus Gobert in his whole career. That's interesting. Ted says maybe a play on Markelle over. Yeah, he's been cooking. I'm not sure who he draws tonight. They have pretty good, perimeter defenders. We see Jordan Poole go under last night. So if Mikal Bridges can, get hot, he could potentially have a big game. But if Minnesota's locked in, like Chris Finch wants them to be that mature team that they have potential to be, then he could go under. So no play for me. Damani says he likes Jericho Sims rebounds ladder. He's just kidding. Adrian says Nets have a league worst fourth quarter rating since mid-December. I talked about that, man. If the Nets are winning at the end of the third, you live bet their team total to go under before the game ends. What else we liking? Jabari says Jokic points line moved up 2 points on FanDuel as soon as Hartenstein got rolled out. Vaughn says Precious Achiuwa rebounds. He had 9 and 11 last 2 games. Typically, his line is at 6.5. Let's see if we see a line for Precious. They haven't given it to us yet. They smarter than that. No Precious Achiuwa line yet. Julius Randle 9.5. Aaron Gordon 5.5. Yeah, I think it's definitely a rebounding type game. Cam says if y'all think Precious getting minutes, fade the Knicks. That's funny. A couple more games to get to. We got 2 games left. We got Kings and we got Warriors. Game will be played at Chase Center tonight in San Francisco. Warriors getting 2 points. Home dogs. Total is 242.5, which is up from the original number. I think it's opened at 241. So you see some money coming in on the over. It's actually up to 243.5 now. So last night I told you guys I had no idea. I wasn't even going to sit on here and waste your time trying to handicap that game between the Atlanta Hawks and the Warriors. Because, you can kind of, project and predict what you think will happen, but you really don't. You had no idea how the Warriors were going to respond last. I don't think anybody knew how the Warriors going to respond with such an emotional, game last night. But they came out. They did start the game a little slow. Atlanta jumped out on them, and then they kind of smooth sailed the rest of the game. They didn't have to, play their starters too many minutes last night. But so this is the second leg of a back-to-back. Before this game, they did have 8 days off. So I'm not sure how, unrested they are, even though they are quote unquote unrested because it's the second leg of a back-to-back. And because I don't know the projection of the Warriors, I'm not sure what to do with them. I know Atlanta has been, a fade, especially without Trae Young. I think the Kings, I know nobody's going to want to play the Kings, but I feel like the Kings are the right side in this game. And I didn't play them yet, but just looking at the game from, that perspective, I think yesterday was a big emotional, like a big wave of emotion for, for the Golden State Warriors yesterday. And typically, when you have that much emotion, it's a letdown that comes after that. So they really wanted that game yesterday. You see Jonathan Kuminga go out there. He shoots 11 for 11 from the field, scores 25 points, couple blocks. Draymond knocked down 2 threes at plus 450 if anybody got a chance to get that in. Steph, Clay, all of those guys play really, really well. The Kings have already lost to the Warriors twice this season. They beat them one time. So, got some revenge here. And the Kings, when you back them, you typically want to do it on the road. They're 13-7 against the spread on the road. They have lost 3 in a row on the road, however, but they're rested too. And they're more rested. 2 days of rest versus 0 in this spot. The Warriors, 5-2 straight up, 4-3 against the spread when they're unrested, but they are just 1-4 straight up as home dogs this season. A lot of the times last year, I would not fade the Warriors when they were home dogs. This year, it's actually been profitable. You're winning 80% of your bets if you just fade the Warriors when they are home dogs this season, when you do it straight up. I wouldn't mess with the spread. I would just take the Kings, on this on the money line in this spot and lay like the minus 125, 130, whatever you got to lay. And the big reason is this, right? Like divisional road favorites, right? When you're playing a divisional game, not a conference game, but when you're playing a divisional game and you have the rest advantage, typically it lends pretty well for you. So divisional road favorites with at least 2 days rest facing an unrested opponent, they're actually 35-9 straight up. That's 79.5%. And with the point spread, you're really just asking Sacramento to win the game. So I think that they can win this game. You see them, play a little bit better in their last game against Atlanta. That was their first game. Excuse me. That was their first game. After they had a chance to kind of, reset, practice, get themselves together after going on that 4-game losing streak. So could be a big game from Sabonis. I'm pretty sure Fox is going to look to, turn up against Steph. Guys like Keegan Murray. If you can get some consistency from Kevin Huerter, guys like Harrison Barnes, who, literally can go for 20 or they can go for 2 and, end up having to go sit down on the bench. I do think the Kings win this game today. Also, just a small lean. I'm probably not even going to play the game, but I just wanted to give you guys the notes in the research. I do lean towards the under. I know that this total is going up. It is at 243.5. But the Kings, when they're on the road, that's when you want to play them under. At home, they're a very profitable over team. On the road, not so much. They typically play better defense on the road. A lot of the times, they don't score as much on the road. This goes all the way back to last season. And the only home game for the Warriors this season where they played against the Kings, their game actually went under by 24.5 points in that head-to-head matchup. So I do lean towards the under 243.5. And I would also be only taking the Kings in this spot on the money line. What y'all think about that? Let's go to the chat before we get to the last game. And if you guys join late, do me a favor, hit the like button for me if you can. Let's see. Rob Kim says Minnesota money line at minus 164. I'm not in the business myself, Rob, of laying a minus 164 on the money line, but if you feel so inclined, I typically stop by minus 145, but that's just my preference. Tasha says she took the Kings on the money line. Okay, so she likes the Kings. Anthony says Warriors home dogs. I think they carried the momentum from yesterday. They had plenty of rest, so not worried about the back-to-back. That's the other side of the argument, Anthony. I couldn't talk you off, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not going to play the game, even though I do like the opposite side. What else? Jabari says he loves Malik Monk in this game tonight. And then Main A says FanDuel has a boost. I hate when I read a sentence and it starts that way, actually, grinds my gears. FanDuel has a boost for Fox and Curry to score 25. So who doesn't score 25 between those two? I think it could potentially be both, but who knows, man. Trey Jackson says Mike Conley points and rebounds at 12.5 line, averages 17 against the Nets last 7. Nets giving it up as well. Kyle Hing says just sub, let's get the money and like. And Rob says, Chris, what you got me wanting to parlay all the unders. I wouldn't parlay them, Rob. I definitely would not parlay them. Well, it just depends on what you want to put on it. Your unit size. But I don't parlay anything. If I got 5 plays, they're all 5 plays straight. I don't parlay. I know some people love parlays. That's not my thing. And then yeah, find a way to fade the boost for sure. Last game. Let's go to the last game, and that will be my Los Angeles Lakers laying 5 points as the home favorite tonight against the visiting Chicago Bulls. This total shot all the way up, and now it's actually coming back down a little bit. Opened at 224.5, back down to 227. It had went up to 228.5, which is what you guys see on the screen right now. So this is a game. I'm not going to waste too much of your time on it. When I was looking at it last night, the first thing that jumped out to me was like, how can I not take the Bulls in this spot? I think just the current form of these two teams. We know LeBron missed that last game against the Clippers, but the Lakers are a pretty inconsistent team right now, and those are the hardest team to bet against. The teams that get blown out one game and then come out and blow out a team in the next game. The Lakers, the Portland Trail Blazers right now, the Sacramento Kings. These are the most difficult teams to play because they're so inconsistent. What has been consistent though is that the Lakers have been giving up points left and right. You go through and just look at the game log. Outside of the game against Portland the other day, they have not been a really good defensive team over the course of the month. 6-5 to the over. They're giving up about 119 points per game. The Bulls, they've been actually able to score, and they're more rested in this spot. 2 days to 1. Granted, LeBron James didn't play in that last game, so pretty conflicting on this game. I do think the Lakers need to win just because of where they are in the standings in the Western Conference. But the Bulls also probably got a really bad taste in their mouth being, how they lost the game against Phoenix with Kevin Durant hitting that game winner the other day. So while they were playing in Phoenix. So pretty conflicting for me. I don't necessarily. I don't want to lay points with the Lakers. I'll tell you guys that this month they are. Let's see. This month specifically in January, they've played. Just look at something real quick. If I can get it to populate. Maybe I can't. This month specifically, though, they have not been necessarily covering spreads. I wanted to give you guys a number, but they are 3-0 to the under, 2-1 against the spread. They did cover against the Clippers. That was the first game after when they were losing. When they were on a long losing streak, and the Clippers were actually on a long winning streak. That game was with LeBron. They actually lost to the Suns, got smoked, and then they did beat the Thunder. But the Bulls, without Zach LaVine, man, they've actually been playing some really good basketball. So not a team I necessarily want to fade against the spread. They've been a pretty profitable team this month, and that's whether they're playing at home, whether they're playing on the road. Last time we backed the Bulls was in Cleveland about a week and a half ago, and they absolutely got smoked in that spot. So I don't necessarily want to back the Bulls in this spot, but I also think that 5 points is a tad bit too much. So I think the Lakers can win this game by possession, and that's what they have been doing more recently. So contrarian look would be to the under, with the Bulls being 5-2 to the under this month, and the Lakers also needing a win, and not just needing a win, but playing a little bit. I wouldn't say a little bit more defense. I would say the totals have been a tad bit too high. Just put it like that. Their offense hasn't been consistently scoring either. So lean towards the under, I guess, if I had to play anything, but too conflicting for me in this game. So I stayed away from this one. No look on player props either. What are you guys looking at in this one? Let's see. Raptors fan going back to the last game. He likes Steph Curry over his 5.5 assists. Call Me Aries is going back to Kuminga. Took him over 16.5 points. Hobby says, hey, Chris, FanDuel has a boost. Just playing. But I do like DeMar's over 9.5 rebounds and assists in this spot. He does a lot of passing without Zach LaVine. We just saw Kawhi against the Lakers team with a triple-double. That I could see this, Hobby. If DeMar wants to, I mean, he is home, right? He is from Compton, so this makes a lot of sense. Big DeMar DeRozan game tonight. I could definitely see this. Anthony says Bulls plus the points, especially without LaVine. You can see that. Malik, he's on his Bulls +5, and he says he liked Caruso heavy on defensive props tonight. He likes his 2 steals and his block. He said they've been cashing, and it's a revenge game for Caruso. We know he was drafted by the Lakers. Takri says he thinks he might roll with Wiggins points. Andrew Wiggins, he's been playing like trash. I know he shot 4 for 10 last night. Not sure how many points he finished with, but Wiggins has not been playing well. Tasha likes that Bull team total over 111.5, thinking that the Lakers defense might not show up again tonight. So that's it, man. We went over the whole slate. 209 people watching on YouTube. Not sure how many are on Twitter. Going back to give you guys my top looks, and like I said, I know a lot of people don't like unders, but that's what I'm liking today. 76ers and Pacers, I played that under 239. Hold on, let me just get the top looks fly up. So banner up. So 76ers and Pacers, I played that under 239. Like I said, the Pacers are 7-3 to the under without Halliburton. And since Siakam got there, to 3-0 to the under as well. So I played that under. Celtics and Heat played that under 224.5 as well. I think that total it was actually moving in the opposite direction of 225. But like I said, the Heat haven't been able to score. Both of these teams playing pretty slow pace, both top 5 defensive teams. I think the Boston Celtics bring their defense today as well. And I like that game to go under as well. And then last under, Knicks and the Nuggets, under 222.5 for me. 223, if you can find, well, that total actually is going up to 223 now. So if you can get a 223, I like that one as well. I know Isaiah Hartenstein doesn't make me like it as much. I feel like he definitely helps that defense a lot. And it could be absolute barbecue chicken for Jokic tonight. I'm interested to see what that matchup looks like. I will be locked in on that game. It's the only 7:40 game, that game in the Boston game. So I'll be on both of the unders, rooting for, slow-paced games and a whole bunch of missed shots. In those games, Timberwolves and Nets, want to wait for Conley. Do want to get there with the Timberwolves in that spot. I think I'll lay the short number and just live with the results on that one. Want to lay the 3.5 with the Minnesota Timberwolves, but haven't played that one. Sacramento and Golden State do lean Kings on the money line, but didn't play that one. And then Chicago and LA, no play for me at all in that one. I'll just sit on the sidelines in that one. So send me a request if you guys got anything. Like I said, please hit the like button for me if you can as well. Let's go back to the comment section real quick, and then we're going to get to Flo, who has been patiently waiting to talk about the New York Knicks because they do play basketball. If y'all got any questions, now's the time. Send me a request real quick, and I'll try to get to those as well. Ladokito TV says, "Hey Chris, what are your thoughts on Jaylen Brown over his 28.5 points plus rebounds?" I would need to look a little more into it. I've heard somebody earlier said Jaylen Brown plays well against the Heat, and it's really difficult to figure out, for me anyway, who's going to play well for the Celtics. They do such a good job of being unselfish with the basketball that it makes it difficult for me anyway. Let's see. Tigre says, looking at the Bulls game, Lakers give it up to shooting guards and to point guards. That's Kobe and Caruso. That I could definitely see that as well. And then real quick on that game too. And then two more things real quick. I wanted to say this about that game. So the Bulls actually give up the fewest amount of points in the paint on the season right now over the last 10 games. But it's not because their defense has necessarily been that great. It's because teams are shooting the three-point ball really, really well against the Bulls right now. So D'Angelo Russell's been on fire. I cannot talk anybody off playing his three-point props to go over. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was Cam asked me earlier what were my thoughts on Anthony Edwards tonight, if I thought he could kind of keep it going. And I wanted to kind of think about it throughout the day. I think Anthony Edwards could definitely keep it going. I like him a little bit more if Mike Conley Jr. isn't there. If Mike Conley Jr. isn't there tonight, because that forces Anthony Edwards to have the ball in his hands a little bit more, whether he's going to be a playmaker or he's going to try to score the ball. And the other thing is, we just saw Jalen Brunson have a really big game, a really, really big game against this team. So they're not, really able to slow down guards. So I definitely think Anthony Edwards can, get to his mid-range, hit his pull-up, hit a couple threes, and kind of keep it going. Anthony Edwards is really, really young. So I do like Anthony Edwards tonight. And that's what how do you feel about LeBron 20 points? You must be about to put that in a parlay, because I'm not sure what you're doing with Bron to score 20. I know his points probably higher than that. Bron should definitely score 20. Off of injury day where he didn't play in the last game, he should feel fresh and young tonight. I would be looking at Bron to get 20 if I was thinking about putting in the parlay tonight. What's up, Flo? Talk to me, bro. How you?
Doing excellent. How you doing tonight, bro?
I'm good, man. I cannot complain, bro. It's a lot of basketball tonight. How we looking at the games today?
Man, it's gonna be bad for the Knicks, man. This front line's about to get barbecued by Jokic.
You think so?
Man, like you know what it is with Thibodeau. Like he this time it's like he just he plays his system. Like I'm not saying they're not gonna double Jokic, but you're gonna see like a lot of one-on-one Jericho Sims on Jokic more than you probably consider. Think. And he's just not going to send the help or he'll shade. But I love Jokic's points. I know he jumped up to 27.5. You get it at 26.5, absolutely love that. The next front line against Knicks. When Harden, it's like 26.5. So there you go. I like it there. This front line, like when Hardenstein is in there, is absolute Swiss cheese. Like Claxton was going crazy. I mentioned it last time. I was talking about the Nets game. But just look at all these bigs. Even when Hardenstein's in there, they struggle versus big. Now it's no Hardenstein. The play I like the most of the team, there's two I really like. It's kind of ugly though. So one is Michael Porter Jr.'s rebounds. What I've noticed is it's kind of simple. You take the guy, you figure out who's guarding Jalen. That's going to be KCP. You realize who's going to guard Randall. That's Aaron Gordon. And then you figure out who's the wing that's going to be coming from the weak side. And that's Michael Porter Jr. I like his 5.5 rebounds. That weak side help has been grabbing a lot of rebounds over the last 10 games. Last game was Cam Johnson. It was Kelly Oubre versus the Sixers. So I really like his 6. And also I just like the whole when a guy's been trending down, the chart's got to go green eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Really like that one. The hideous one where I'm going contrarian against everyone is I love Jamal Murray's assist. Over the course of the last 10 games, what I've kind of seen here is that when the Knicks play these Tyrese Maxey, Fred VanVleet, all these point guards are destroying their line. Go look at Tyus Jones when he put up almost 14 assists. Fred hit 12, and I've been noticing the last 2 weeks is Jamal Murray, his passes made per game has gone up. His usage on a potential system gone up. Now he's under the last 3, but I just think that now, especially that Jericho Sims is in there, they can just pick and roll the Knicks to death. The Knicks, when we played the Lakers, I was on LeBron's assist. It was plus 120. I'm if the Lakers have any clue, they will just run the pick and roll 50 times with him and AD. They'll just convert on 60% of them. Like it again today. So I like Murray's assist 7.5. I know a lot of people are under his points plus assists, but just the track record of what lead point guards. I know OG's gonna be on him, but I saw OG on Maxey. Maxey still had 9 assists. I saw OG on all these lead guards. All these lead guards just come play the Knicks and get 9, 10 assists. So love those two. The last one I'll give out is hideous, but it's just the man's gonna take 5 wide open threes. It's KCP 2 threes at plus 110. Essentially he's the 2 guard. Now that man, I cannot understand it enough. How much Hardenstein being out just wrecks the defense, especially against a team this smart. He's gonna be wide open on that corner elbow for 5 threes. KCP's a roller coaster with threes. He can go for broke, but it's just bad. If you're gonna take 5 threes, just make 2 of them. You're gonna be wide open.
That's a fact.
Plus 110. Yeah. So those are my plays for today. Just to recap, love Jokic's points. If you want to do his points plus rebounds too, I love that too because the interior is gonna be terrible. KCP threes, Jamal Murray's assists. I threw some change on the 10 at 340. He easily could hit 10. That's I don't know.
What was his baseline, Flo? It was 6.5 or 5.5?
So his base is 7.5, but it's plus 122.
Okay.
So that plus 122 number is probably there to probably scare one off, but I'm it's on my page. Just look at what every single point guard has done since the OG trade. It's absurd.
Right.
And then Jokic and Michael Porter Jr.'s rebounds. Love the rebounds with that dude. You just have to hope he doesn't get into foul trouble or he bricks shots and he mentally checks out on the game. I really like his rebounds a lot tonight.
Okay. Hey, Flo, real quick, while I got you up here, I got a couple questions for you. First thing I want to ask you about I think everybody's thinking defense. What's the offensive impact without Isaiah Hardenstein being out there?
Oh, it's huge because you could fade off of Sims they have him in the dunker spot, but I haven't taken it, but Jalen Brunson's assist, he let me down last game. But Hardenstein was like a third ball handler. Now they like don't have that. So now it's like more Julius assists, more Brunson assists, more usage. Like it's huge because like I always call the guy like dollar store Jokic, and like now that he's actually playing like all these minutes, you see why I say that. Like he's got movement skills, he can rebound really well, he can move the ball, he can cut, really coordinated. So I don't know. I hate to say it, but this really feels like a Denver Nuggets by like 8 spot. But I'm never gonna take the
Nuggets. No, I like it, Flo. I like it. Last question for you, Flo.
Yes, sir.
The matchup between Aaron Gordon and Julius Randle tonight. What are your thoughts?
Julius Randle turnovers. No, I think Julius will have a solid game. I just like it because like Aaron Gordon's like a stocky guy, like muscular guy. He's like a lot of times like Julius plays like these power forwards who are kind of like slender in build, so he kind of like muscles way in the lane. But like I just like this Denver defense, like the fact that they have like guys who are smart on defense, like they have like KCP, who can be like working, like when they bring Christian Braun in, Pesky plays the lane.
Peyton Watson, you don't gotta tell me. I wasn't a believer, Flo, until we got swept last year in the playoffs.
Like, who's like a guy I want to find an angle, but I just don't know what it is. It's Josh Hart, because I was listening to a Nuggets guy who was talking about how they're one of the worst teams in the last month in fast break offense, and he said, if anything, for the Knicks to win this game, they probably got to speed up the pace because they got to get on the break and run, which screams Josh Hart. And now that Hardenstein's not in there, that's going to be like even more Josh Hart. So I don't know. I've got to figure out how to play it. I have no clue. Like they're a really good rebounding team. I wouldn't take his rebounds, his assists maybe, but I don't know. I already have enough plays for them tonight, so I'll probably just like stop right there.
Yes. It's just interesting because you watch the game so much and you see so many different angles you want to bet. And I feel like that all the time, right? Like I come on here, I talk about things, and might be 10 plays that I really like, and then I only play 3 and I go 1 and 2, but the rest of them go like 6 and 3, or something like that. So yeah, I definitely understand the flow, especially for you and the Knicks, bro. I know you can make 5 Knicks plays a day if you really needed to between the two teams, that them and their opponents. So I appreciate the insight, and definitely was thinking like, I hope Flo quest up today so I can just pick his brain on the Hardenstein effect, because I think it's a real one, more so than the public really knows. I'm looking at the line, Flo. It really didn't move that much. It's still 2.5 at most books right now, and it's still a 2 out there. You can get a Denver plus the 2. So
yeah, I don't. I'll be honest. Like I really don't get it. Like I don't know what I'm missing here. Like I don't get it.
I think a piece of it is you want to fade the team that's playing against a good team. That Knicks been playing really good basketball. I'll say that too. But Denver on the last leg of this road trip, I think it's typically a fatigue spot. When it gets in the game like 5, 6, and I think it's game 5 on the road for them. So I understand it from that perspective, but we'll see how it goes, Flo. Appreciate you, man.
Most definitely. Appreciate you too, bro.
Absolutely. Let's go, Cam. What's up, Cam? Cam, you with me? Nah, Cam ain't there. He fell asleep. Let's see. But that's really all I got unless Cam requests back up. Shout out to Midwest Slide Diva, man. She always in here sending the vibe. She said 183 watching, only 93 likes. Takes 1 second to hit that thumbs up. This is free content. I appreciate you, Midwest Slide Diva. Cam, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's going on? How you?
Where am I?
Yeah, yes, sir. I'm doing pretty good, man. Talk to me. What you liking today?
So a few things. The first one I hear about in the chat real quick is Pascal over 4.5 points. Minus 122 first quarter. It's just it's a really low number, and I get it. He had a really poor game the last game out. But anybody, it's nice to be able to cap a team other than the Raptors because I know the players. Against the 76ers, he's normally pretty aggressive, and he's just normally aggressive in the first quarter in general. Typically his line's around 6.5. So just seeing it at 4.5, just for me, it's like the number's too low. That's the analysis. It was just a very low number for a player who's a super high usage player. They are trying to get him involved. I've watched their games, and he's really aggressive to the point where he got in foul trouble a few games early.
on charges, but it's a low number, so I like the -4.5 and -22. 122 isn't too much juice. So that's my first one. And then the next two are kind of like, you kind of said it, where you always have nice leans and then you just don't play them. So
I don't know why.
But I got Tatum at over 12.5 versus 14.5. You saw that?
Okay.
I found it at 12.5 assists and rebounds on FanDuel. And I was looking at it before, and then when you started talking about it, I was like, yeah, I'll take that for sure, because he actually goes over that line quite often against the Heat. In the last 4, he's cleared it each game. So the last game, it was only about 1, but the other one was 14 and 7, 12 and 3. So I really like the 12.5 number. So when you said 14.5, I jumped all over. And then, so the Minnesota one scared me, but I took Minnesota -4. Just to get it closer to even. It was like -1. It's like -106 right now, and worst case is a push if I don't take the 3.5. I like the play essentially because like I've been ever since Chris Finch came out, I jumped on them the next game at the -11 and obviously a push, but they did what I expected. Typically, when a good coach like that calls out a team, things change real quick, and you could tell they played really hard defense that last game. And I think that they just responded well to the coach on that one. I kind of see it keep going. And I just think there's a fairly large talent gap between these two teams. I think Brooklyn had people kind of fooled a bit earlier in the year when they're playing pretty decent basketball. But when you really go top to bottom, there's just not a lot of talent there, in my opinion. And I think we're getting closer to the business end. Like, I look really forward to after the All-Star game when teams really care. But I think we'll see Minnesota care a bit more in this game. And like you said, if they lock down on defense and Brooklyn's not hitting threes, I don't see how Brooklyn covers. So that's why I took the -4. Even if it's close near the end and it becomes a free throw game. I think if you're sitting on, many over 2 and they get a stop, then, it's free throws from there on out. So I think it is a fishy line for sure. It's like, I think we're all thinking the same thing when we see it. It looks kind of like a trap, but I'm going to fall into it if it is. One thing that does scare me is I just saw Van Boost's in a boost, and the 3 teams in the boost are Boston, Minnesota, and I think Philly. So I'm hoping Minnesota is not the team that drops, because like I know it's a bit of a fallacy, boost whatever, but truthfully, there's one of my boys, he's a super good capper. He showed me an analysis of around what happened, why they put these boosts out is because they know there's a percentage around what they're doing, and it typically favors the Bucks. So one of those teams are probably going to lose tonight. So hopefully it's not Minnesota. But yeah, those are my 3 plays: Pascal first quarter, Tatum combo assist rebounds, and Minnesota -4.
Minnesota -4. Okay. Best of luck, Cam. I hope you cash the numbers, man. I'm still looking at the Nets. They are 1-3 at home so far, straight up this month. 1-2-1 against the spread. They beat the Thunder and that was their first game back home back on January the 5th. They lost to the Trailblazers, lost to the Heat by 1, and then of course just lost to the Knicks as well. The Heat loss was by 1 point in overtime, of course. The Trailblazers game went to overtime. That was the game before they went to London. And then, of course, they should have beat the Knicks. So you could kind of say that this team is teetering on a win, but we'll see how it goes, man. I might get there with a live play, especially if they, the Nets somehow come out, hit a bunch of threes early. I will say they are winning the first quarter, 29-22. But as we kind of talked about it, they have not been a great fourth quarter team. So far in the 4 games that they played at home this month, they're averaging 20.5 points. 20.5 points per game through 4 games in the fourth quarter. Yeah. So
I think the live bet's probably a really good look, actually, because I did the same thing with OKC yesterday. I just waited until I saw a line I liked. Obviously, they blew it out of the water, but I think with this team, if they do come out and swing first, if you even get Minnesota on an evens or plus or whatever, I think you got to jump on it.
Yeah, I would agree, man. I don't think the Timberwolves are going to lose to this team, but I mean, I guess the Nets they have been playing so bad, 2-7-1 against the spread in their last 10. They are due to cover some spreads, just like in the beginning of the season, they started so hot and then they, started to cool off some. So, it's a really interesting game, Cam. I look at these games and I know that the odds makers, just a bit of knowledge for the day. The odds makers don't make mistakes when they put these lines out. Like they make them so that the game is, quote unquote, a coin flip. That's why the spread is what it is. So even if it looks easy, sometimes it's not. We cashed with Cleveland the other day, a +1.5, and they won the game by 30. You take those ones and you just happy that you didn't have to sweat. But the 9 times out of 10, the line makers are not setting these lines so that if you're on one side, you're going to easily win your bet, right? It should be a coin flip type of game is what they're expecting. So I say that to say it's never easy, and then I also say that to say that if the game starts out a little crazy, typically what goes up must come down, right? So just some words of advice for your betting experience throughout the day and the rest of somebody probably need to hear that. So that's the show, man. That's the show. Appreciate you guys for tapping in as always. Thinking about doing a night show tonight or an early morning show tomorrow, but definitely had the notifications on so you guys will know when that happens. And hit the like button for me if you can as well. I told you guys what I bet already. Real quick, I bet the Pacers and the 76ers to go under. Tobias Harris did get rolled out. The line did come back down to 4.5. I think the Pacers are the right side in that game too, even though I didn't necessarily bet them as well. I also bet Marcus Morris also got rolled out of that game as well. So Philly going to be, shorthanded. That's 4 rotational players that they won't have when you think about Tobias, and Morris. You're already without DeAnthony Milton and you're without Robert Covington. So hopefully that means a little more defense and a little less offense. We'll see how it goes. There, Celtics and Heat, under 224.5 for me. Like the Heat team total under 107.5. Haven't gotten to that one quite yet. And then Knicks and the Nuggets. Don't feel as confident without Hartenstein being in there because he is a big part of that defense. And hopefully the Nuggets just are, super fatigued in this spot on the last game of this road trip. So we'll see how it goes. Biggest leans, like I said, Kim just talked about one of them, Jason Tatum to go over his 12.5 rebounds and assists line. Timberwolves minus the 3.5, but I really want Mike Conley Jr. to be in there. I do lean Kings on the money line as well, and probably not touching the Lakers and Bulls game, but probably Bulls in that spot as well. So best of luck to you guys, man. Do me a favor, and if you haven't already, hit the like button for me on your way out. Best of luck on all your action. Hope you guys cash tonight, and we will be back at it tomorrow. I'm out.